Standard 3rd, Subject English, Lesson number 35, Pinocchio. Students, this is a short story about Pinocchio. Lesson 35, Pinocchio. Long, long ago, there lived a king. You will say immediately, "No, children, you are mistaken. Once upon a time, there was a piece of wood, a common block of firewood. It was found in the shop of a carpenter. But whenever he put his tools to the block to cut it, to carve it, or to scrape it, it began to talk. Oh, that hurt! Don't break me, please. Oh, that tickles. Just then, his neighbor Geppetto came in to ask for a piece of wood. Geppetto wanted to make a wooden puppet that could run, jump, and make its way around in the world. So the carpenter readily gave the piece of wood to Geppetto. Explanation. Students, when we say long, long ago there lived a king comes in our mind, but no, we are mistaken. Mistaken means wrong in your thoughts. There was common block of firewood in the shop of carpenter, but when the carpenter took the block to cut it, to carve it means to make something out of wood. The wooden block began to talk. Oh, it hurts me. Students, as Geppetto wanted to make a wooden puppet which could run, jump, and make its way around in the world, he went to the carpenter to ask for a piece of wood. So the carpenter gave the piece of wood to Geppetto. Geppetto brought the piece home and carved it into a puppet lovingly. As he had no family, he began to think of the puppet as his son and named him Pinocchio. But Pinocchio was quite a naughty puppet. As soon as Geppetto taught it to walk, he ran out of the hut. He ran so fast that Geppetto could not catch him. A policeman caught him and brought him back to Geppetto. Explanation. Geppetto had no family. He brought the piece of wood at home and carved it into a lovely puppet. He began to think of the puppet as his son and gave the name as Pinocchio. Pinocchio was so naughty that he began to run so fast that the policeman caught him and brought back to the Geppetto. Though Pinocchio was such a naughty puppet, Geppetto loved him dearly. He would do anything for his son. But Pinocchio was not always nice to his father. He always promised to be a good boy and tell the truth and obey his father. But more often than not, he forgot all his promises. Geppetto loved Pinocchio very much and do anything for his son. But Pinocchio was not always nice to his father. He always promised to be a good boy but forgot all his promises. Next paragraph. Pinocchio wanted to be a real boy, a real son to his father, and not just a wooden puppet. He meant well, but he was only a little wooden puppet and did silly things he should not have done. You can read about all these antics in a book called The Adventures of Pinocchio. But here are some of them in short. Pinocchio thought he would go to school, learn reading in a day, writing the next day, and then arithmetic on the day after that. Then he planned to earn a lot of money for Geppetto. Geppetto felt very happy that Pinocchio wanted to go to school, but he did not have the money for the school books. Though it was very cold, poor Geppetto sold his only coat to get the money for Pinocchio's school book. Explanation: Pinocchio wanted to be a real boy, son to his father, and not just a wooden puppet. But he was only a little wooden puppet. You can read about in a book called The Adventures of Pinocchio. Pinocchio thought he would go to school like the other boys and earn a lot of money for Geppetto. Geppetto felt very happy that Pinocchio wanted to go to school, but he did not have the money for school books. So Geppetto sold his only coat to get the money for school books. Next paragraph. Pinocchio started for school. On the way, he came upon a puppet show. He forgot all about his plans to go to school. The naughty puppet that he was. He sold his school book and with that money bought a ticket to the show. When Pinocchio entered the puppet theater, the puppets on the stage saw him. They were very happy to see their brother. They forgot their play and began to call out to him. In two leaps, Pinocchio was on the stage. They all began to hug and slap one another on the back and jump and clap. People who had come to see the play did not like this interruption at all. They began to shout. Explanation: Students, Pinocchio started for school. While going to school, he came upon a puppet show. Pinocchio forgot all to go to school. He sold his books and he took a money and bought a ticket to the show. Pinocchio entered the puppet theater. The puppets on the stage were very happy to see his brother. They forgot their play and began to call out to him. Pinocchio went on the stage and began to hug and slap one another on the back. The people who had come to see the play did not like and began to shout. Next paragraph. The puppet master was very annoyed. He decided to throw Pinocchio into the fire. Pinocchio's puppet friends pleaded with the puppet master not to do that. Then, instead of Pinocchio, the puppet master chose another puppet for throwing into the fire. Now, Pinocchio was really good at heart. He was sorry for the other puppet. Very gladly, he told the puppet master that he was ready to burn in the fire himself and the puppet master should spare the other puppet's life. The puppet master was very angry and decided Pinocchio to throw into the fire, but he requested master not to do that. Then, so in place of Pinocchio, the puppet master chose another puppet to throw into the fire. Pinocchio was really good at heart. He felt sorry for other puppet and told puppet master that he was ready to burn in the fire. Next paragraph. The puppet master was not really a wicked master. He let both the puppets go. Not only that, he also gave Pinocchio 5 gold coins for his old father Geppetto. When he heard this story, now did Pinocchio take these coins to Geppetto immediately? No, the silly little puppet that he was. He got into more and more mischief and trouble due to the coins. The master was not wicked. He gave 5 gold coins to Pinocchio and let both the puppets go. Pinocchio did not took the coins to Geppetto. The silly puppet got into more and more mischief and troubles due to the coins. A kind fairy saved Pinocchio from the robbers who had caught Pinocchio for the coins. But when the fairy asked Pinocchio about the coins, he lied to her. But then a strange thing happened. The moment Pinocchio told a lie, his nose grew longer. With every lie, it grew longer and longer. Pinocchio was really frightened. He asked the fairy to forgive him and promised never to tell lies again. The robbers caught the Pinocchio for the coins, but the fairy saved Pinocchio said lies to fairy when she asked about coins. So as he lied, the strange thing happened. His nose grew longer and longer with every lie. He got frightened and asked the fairy to forgive him and promise never to tell lies again. Pinocchio did not learn to tell the truth or listen to the good advice of his friends and his father and the fairy easily. So at the end of number of adventures, do you know where he found himself? At the bottom of the sea. Here, Pinocchio did not learn to tell the truth, listen to the good advice of his friends, father and the fairy easily. So at last he was found at the bottom of the sea. And there he was swallowed by a big shark that was 1 mile long. Poor Pinocchio, now at last he was truly sorry for all the foolish things that he had done. But once you get into a difficulty, it's not very easy to get out of it. Pinocchio was swallowed by a big shark. Pinocchio was sorry for all the foolish things. Once you get into a difficulty, it's not very easy to get out of it. However, inside the stomach of the shark, Pinocchio saw a faint light. When he went near the light, surprise of surprise, he found Geppetto. Inside the stomach of the shark, he saw a faint light. He was surprised to see his father Geppetto. Geppetto had been worried about Pinocchio since he had left home. He had searched for Pinocchio far and wide. During the search, the shark had swallowed the ship on which Geppetto was traveling. With great efforts and courage, Pinocchio took himself and Geppetto out of the shark's stomach. He carried Geppetto back to the shore. His father was worried about Pinocchio had left home. His father searched far and wide. During search, the shark had swallowed the ship of Geppetto. With great efforts and courage, they both came out of the shark's stomach and came back to the shore. After that, Pinocchio really proved to be a good boy. He began to work very hard to help Geppetto. When he heard that the fairy was ill, he sent her all the money that he was saving for himself. And then, to his joy and amazement, he found that he had turned into a real boy. At the end, Pinocchio began to work very hard to help Geppetto. He even sent all his money to the fairy when he knew that she was ill. Because of his good deeds, he finally became a real boy. This story is based on the adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. Thank you.